it sort of gets tougher as you move along. Now, we're not talking about top end players here. We're both not top end players here, but
No.
just in my experience and stuff like that, it's the bunker time probably won't affect me, and the same with the stim time, because lately I've just been saying, well, you know what, I'm gonna get stim when I get stim. I'm not gonna be doing some early pushes, and I'm gonna start just meching up.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah. I agree. I
that's
agree.
been my play style.
So
So
let's mention Zerg because we all know I hate Zerg with a passion. But let's mention them. Health Infestor health increase from 90 to 110. And then it goes, this change has been revoked, so I'm not sure whether that's actually came into play. Fungal growth stun duration decreased from 8 to 4 seconds. That's quite big for people who are trying to do that. Damage
but
increased by plus 30% versus armored units. Now fires a
I
missile.
I well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't play Zerg enough to think that that's the damage increase is worth the minus stun, but I know every time I came up against fungal growth, if you got hit with fungal growth, you were dead. There was no way around that. If you had a bio ball in there, you were just dead. But
Um,
with a heavy mech army that I would roll in, yeah, fungal growth me all you want. I'll just shoot you. What's the big deal?
but it is doing 30% on armored units. We were talking about a day nine cast. Who we follow quite a lot, and he was saying he
Hmm.
felt that the infestor was and the roach play was going to be kind of like the new way to play Zerg, or certainly going to be developed over the few times, and I am certainly seeing even at kind of like the gold platinum level. That is coming into play more and more at the lower levels now, the lower levels of the league. People are starting to use infestors more, and I think that's good because
Hmm.
I come back to this point about diversity. I don't want to play every game the same. I don't want to be seeing the same units used, the same tactics used. And if I get beaten by a tactic that I haven't seen before, sometimes I actually think, yeah, that's okay. I mean, I don't like to get beaten,
Hmm.
but at least it's something original, something new. And I always
Yeah.
concerned with the patches, that if they're nerfing all these new tactics and they're nerfing all these new ways of playing, then they are going to start funneling people down the Colossus, down the siege tanks, down the kind of Mutalis Baneling route, and I don't want that to happen really. So that's it. I mean, last just to wrap this up, Steve. Last thing I want to touch about is that I think it's quite a big change: the removal of losses on the
Oh yeah,
stats. And
that's huge because everyone used to count, okay, I'm 10 wins above 50% or I'm 5 wins below or different things like that. Now,
I mean, did you ever get a
when are you gonna get
situation when you
when are you
lost a
gonna go
game or
up?
you won a game, someone looked at your stats, and if you'd
Mm-hmm.
lost a lot of games, you used to get, a really nice tell, saying you're a jerk. Because like because like I've always had a pretty like even ratio, but if you won 750 games like I have,
Mm-hmm.
that looks really good, yeah. But if you've lost 749,
Yeah, then it sort of evens out.
then it's not so
So
good,
then
is
you
it? You know.
yeah.
But now they've taken that away. You could see someone's wins, and the thing is, the point system always confuses me because you've got the bonus points, you've got your XP points, you've got the better player points. So
Hmm.
I still think it does benefit you for playing more games than not playing more games. But
Well, I think it's when I think the biggest change will be, well, when am I gonna get put up into the next league? And before it was guesswork, sort of. You could sort of, if you got lots more wins than your losses, you could sort of say, okay, I'm going to be moving up soon. Now, it's anybody's guess.
Well, I
Um,
play 3 games because I mean they've brought in this new Grandmaster League, which I'm sure obviously will be a part of pretty soon. But you know, so in theory that should free up 200 places, for people to go up, and it was interesting that when the patch got released, I got played against a platinum player, a bronze player, and a gold player. In the first three
well,
games, it seemed to be
I
really
think,
diverse, in who I was getting matched against. Um, and I don't
I
know
don't
where.
know because I've played against gold level people and platinum level people that have played like 10 games.
Hmm.
And you're just like, what are you doing there? Like, you're what do you mean you're at this standard, you're at this level? I think it's playing a lot of games is not helpful for ladder, and think I think there it was a problem from the get-go of um everyone that played on ladder. Like, you didn't have a practice ladder, you had okay, you're just playing real games all the time. So you got some people that play like 20 games, 30
But
games.
but I
They win
mean,
all their games
the
and they
psycho
smurf on another account and
the psychology of it though, the psychology of
oh,
seeing
it's
those
huge.
losses, and you
It's
know,
absolutely huge.
because it draws upon this kind of issue of self-competitive and competitive people and stuff like that. But I mean, we have a friend, don't we, who's a diamond level player, and he is scared to play 1v1 because
Hmm.
he's scared to lose that. So he's literally sitting there, and he's perhaps
Yeah.
playing one game every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, but is now actually bought a Smurf account because he's scared of losing that status. He doesn't want to go on that front screen and see that. And I think,
Hmm.
Blizzard.
Well, it
I don't
is
think
the
Blizzard are being fair, really. I think they should make it clearer. You know, what chance you have been promoted. I mean, I've been number one in my respective league now for a long time, number one, number two. But I still think it's about beating the players who are in a better league than you. Is how you determine
hmm
to get promoted. But I'm quite glad they've taken away from the lost column because I think it was putting people off playing because it was very disheartening for people to log on, see the amount of losses against wins, and I think if they're going to encourage new players into StarCraft 2, which I think we all want, I don't think that's
hmm
the way to do it. I don't think the way of showing failure for the lower level players is going to encourage them to play, you know? Because if they're getting
yeah.
thumped, 10, 20, and they're 20 games behind, that will, they might just think, well, I'm never gonna get better. I'm
Well,
never gonna do this. So
the other thing is the win-loss ratio is a good example of how well you play in a broad sense. If you've played, like, you have 1,000 games, or I think I'm getting close to 1,000 games, which is, but you when you've played that amount of games, you sort of have gotten into the rhythm and okay, yeah, this is how you play this game. But when you're just getting there and getting started, if you do a really early strategy, I six pool every time, or I'm making a racks on 8. I don't even know about early pushes for Terran, but all you're doing is pushing and you're consistently winning, but the games only ever last 10 minutes.
mhm.
And you can get to a fairly high level, but that doesn't mean that you're actually deserving that position.
Yeah,
Maybe they should start taking into account, well, no, I don't know, maybe taking into account length of games is the wrong way to do it, but all the best games I've had or played with have been 45 minutes to an hour long at least.
I
There's
just,
nothing in the
I
middle.
mean, Blizzard has said when it first came out they didn't want people manipulating the league system, and I can understand that. But at the lower levels, and because more people play StarCraft 2 on a lower level than they do on a higher level, and I think a lot of the reason we've set up this channel is to try and promote StarCraft 2 to everybody, and not just try and
Hmm.
focus it on the kind of elite players. But at the end of the day, people are playing StarCraft 2 out there, really enjoying the game, really loving it, who are perhaps a gold level player, wanting to get better. And I just think, to be fair to those players, why not just say, well, what happens is if you're in the top 3 or 4 of your league, yeah, you then
Hmm.
enter a period of time where you play against players who are a higher league than you, yeah, because I'm sure
Hmm.
that's how it kind of works anyway. And then say if you win, 5 out of 10 of those games or whatever, then you get promoted. Or if you have a certain win ratio, then you get promoted. And then he gives somebody aim for. But I think this business of, oh,
Ambiguity.
yeah, oh, I've been promoted, oh, I've been demoted, or reclassified is how they call it. I just don't think he's particularly productive, and I don't think it's encouraging players perhaps.
There's not a goal.
No,
There's
there's
not a
there's
goal.
no goal. There's no goal. Yeah, and I think
There's not like, okay, you're in the top. If you got 10 more wins, you'd be in the next one. Well, that's my goal. I'm gonna spend the
mm,
next 2 weeks. But and this I guess goes back to watching a lot of Day 9. The things that, and from looking at all my replays, this I'm not very clean and crisp in some of the things that Day 9 is saying about, okay, you want things to be really, really smooth, and all when your factory's done, you got to be producing right out of it, and you got to have a game plan and different things like that. There's no way to measure how good of a player you actually are and how to get better that way, other than watching a Day 9. Like, I
Yeah,
had
but
no
isn't that the
idea.
point of the league system, though, Steve? Isn't it a point?
But not really.
You
But
know how good a player you
it's
are because if you were a better player, you would be in
but
platinum.
if
Or
you have 10-minute games, how are you a good player?
mm.
If you cheese and you cheese all the time and you're the king of cheese, or like, or a Korean early pressure person, like, if you cheese all the time, all you do is know how to make cannon rushing. That is your game. That's all you do. You are the king of cannon rushing. Well, why should you be in a gold? That's You're not
Mm.
actually playing the game. And I'm very sure that you could get into the higher leagues easily on just very simple, very, very quick strategies. But that doesn't mean that you're a good player or have good macro and different things like that. Now, as you get into the higher leagues, I'm sure you can't get any higher than, I don't know, a gold or a platinum with just the early tactics. But the amount of early tactics I do see, and people are not saying, oh, okay, I'm going to expand. I'm not going to attack early. It's There's a heavy focus on the early attack, and I'm saying maybe they should add in how long your games are and how often you have actually played.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you got people that have like 40 games and they're in gold, platinum, diamond.
Anyway,
Like,
sorry to cut you off there, Steve, but just to wrap this up, 1.3 good patch, moving in the right direction. You think? Or
a stim nerf is always the most annoying thing out of that patch is a Terran. We did get a buff on our battle cruisers, which, okay. Now they're not completely
but
terrible.
the loss of the loss column, I would say
I
probably
think
it's a good
that's
thing at the lower
I think
levels.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's definitely. I think as a patch overall, I it fixed a whole lot of things. The replay thing is excellent now. It's only going to get better on that one. So that's a good. I think there were some really good changes, and I think, well, I haven't brought back Reapers. I'm waiting for that, but
Well, I
I think it
resonate
was a
that.
good patch on the whole.
Okay. Well, thank you ever so much, Steve, for your input
All
on
right,
that one. This is STC2 UK. Be very interested to hear your comments in the comment section on YouTube, and please feel free to get in touch with us at sc2uk@youtube.com. Thank you ever so much. Cheers.
good gaming, everyone.
Good gaming.